Aloha, everyone. Aloha, everyone in another level of living land. So happy that you're here for another episode of Freedom Fridays. You are in store for an amazing treat. We have another amazing special guest who's going to share with us some awesome news to help us level up and step into our business and life harmony. So real quick, before I even mention her and all the amazingness that she has to share, I want to let you know a little bit about this Freedom Friday show. Freedom Fridays is all about supporting you as the entrepreneur in achieving success in your business and life harmony so that you can stress less, strengthen your relationships, lead with much more energy, ease, and momentum, work smarter and not harder, and create that time, money, and emotional freedom. So everyone, give our guest a big warm welcome. Her name is Elaine Starling, and she is the Abundance Ambassador. Today, she's going to talk with us about 5 steps to get unstuck and thrive. I know that I am ready to hear about this. So Elaine, welcome to our show. We're so happy that you're here.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. I love supporting my fellow entrepreneurs. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Awesome. So before we get into it, let me let you know a little bit about Elaine. So I mentioned before, she's the Abundance Ambassador, and she's a sought after TEDx speaker, international speaker, coach, trainer, and successful entrepreneur. Elaine's unusual spiritual awakening prompted her to pursue help purpose-driven entrepreneurs thrive so that they can make a lasting difference in the world and enjoy a highly successful and fulfilling business. Her approach blends proven business strategies with personal development and spiritual insights that amplify results. Wow, so exciting. You can be able to find out more about her at www.theabundancejourney.com, and we'll get into that. I'll make sure to include the link to her website below. And I'm really excited that she's going to share about these 5 steps to get unstuck and thrive, because it's easier to go from stuck to unstuck and thriving than we can think. So Elaine, first of all, before we even get into this topic, I want to hear, tell us a little bit about how you came into this work, and what led you to this journey to be able to share this amazingness with us today.
Well, I have a long background, got a Bachelor of Science, a BS in advertising back in the day, and worked at several big advertising agencies, and then had my own company. And then I decided to go out on my own, and I ran my own company for a while. And then I had this spiritual awakening on New Year's Day, 2005. I was blessed to have a stroke, because during my stroke, I had a conversation with our higher power and got a complete download about how everything actually works, what's going on behind the scenes. And I got to tell you, while it was miraculous, it was brilliant, it was amazing, I was also a little pissed off. I'm like, it would have been so nice to know this like umpty up years ago. It would have made my life so much easier. Why didn't you just explain this to begin with? And I got the message back, great, you get to share it. And my immediate response was, oh, wait a minute now. I don't know about that. But I got the message that I had to synthesize everything that I'd learned. And I felt like, honestly, it felt like I had swallowed Google, like every single video, chat, connection, friends, every comment, everything, all the colors, more than we can see, everything, just boom, there it was. And I had to try to streamline and synthesize and simplify that, because we think in very linear ways. And so that's why I created the Abundance Journey, because it shows you the 4 different stages that you go through on this journey of abundance, which is an analogy for your life. And as you go through it, you realize you're always growing, you're always expanding, and it becomes an infinity symbol. That's truly what your life is an infinity symbol. And I'm very passionate about helping my fellow entrepreneurs really thrive. Drives me nuts when I meet up with people and they're just stuck. They're really talented. They're so smart. They're so brilliant. And somehow they just can't get that out and out in the world. And that's my passion, is to help these women thrive.
Wow, Elaine, thanks so much for sharing that. Your story of transformation, your story of your experience. It's almost like where it was this difficult situation, you learned so much wisdom that you could be able to share with others. And I'm so happy that you're doing that. And if you think about it, like it's so easy for a lot of entrepreneurs. They get all this information, they have all this wisdom that they have to share, and they don't even really know which way to move. So because it kind of creates paralysis. Like, okay, how do I get this message out there? How do I share like all this wisdom that I have when it's so much? So yay. Oh, thank you for that.
And honestly, it's much, much easier than everybody thinks, right? They think, oh, well, I have to solve world hunger, and that's how I know I've been successful. No, 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 no. You have to get yourself into a state of flow, into a state of relaxation and joy. My experience of the divine, they feel like effervescent joy, just over the top, happy, excited, delighted, playful, silly, ridiculous, outrageous, and they have so much fun. And that's truly our experience. That's who we are intended to be. And as human beings, we make things complicated. We make things difficult. We make things challenging for ourselves because we like the difference between the challenge and the success. And so sometimes we make it really challenging because then when we get a little success, it feels so much better.
Yeah.
And I want you to you can avoid the stress of getting yourself that wound up and just get into this space of grace and ease where it's really fun.
I love it. I love it. It's like putting the passion and the heart space back into our purpose, which actually naturally brings our prosperity. That part about it doesn't have to be hard. Like people would rather have, oh my gosh, like if I write an equation, a really complicated equation, this is the meaning of life. And everybody's like, oh yeah, I get it. Right. Versus like, just be. And then they're like, what?
Right. And it's so funny because we find it much harder to just be than we do to do all the complicated stuff. It's like, no, this surely this will work, right? But that's not how it works. It's actually spiritual abundance first, then mental abundance second, then emotional abundance, and then the tangible physical stuff shows up. And when you get into that alignment, you're just in flow with abundance, and you discover that you are abundance and you are creating all of the abundance that you want. You experience it 3 times before it shows up in your life. And how beautiful is that?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I know, okay, everyone, we're going to get into the steps in a moment, but this is so good. Because it's what
a little tangent
for so long, right? It's about being, then doing, then having. And like a lot of times we feel like we have to go chase clients. We can just attract them. Your value comes from who you are, not necessarily all the doing. So less doing, more trusting, less thinking, more trusting, and
yes,
your flow, and then everything just goes from there. Okay, so we're gonna get into these steps because we can just go on forever with this. I love that.
And honestly, these are things to do, so you'll feel totally comfortable because they're things to do that actually behind the scenes, it's what you're being. Don't tell anybody. Just do it. Okay, just do it. Okay, so step 1, celebrate in advance. Woohoo! Pick a project that you're working on that is not complete yet, okay? It's something that you're working on and you're in the middle of it. So there's that before you ever start, and then there's done to your full satisfaction. Something in the middle there. Pick something, have something in mind. Heather, play with me, please. Pick something that you're working on. And now I want you to celebrate in advance because you're going to do a process that gives you complete clarity on what you're going to be doing next. And you're going to feel so in flow and so alive and so capable and resourceful and excited and just passionate about what you're doing. So get that sense in your body right now, that feeling, that delighted, oh, wow, I can't wait. I've got this pile of presents and they're all awesome. It doesn't matter what order I open them in. They're all fabulous. And get into that emotional space. Celebrate in advance. That is step 1. Now, this is incredibly powerful because all of the science shows that when you're happy, when you're delighted, when you're leaning in with curiosity and excitement, you're much more creative. You're much more receptive to new ideas and new opportunities. You can be far more productive. And when you come from that space, you actually control time. Let me give you an example. You've been in a situation that was just like excruciating, right? Oh, you so want to leave. Like sometimes a holiday dinner with family that you don't really get along with. It's like, oh man, can I go home yet? It lasts for years, right? And then there are those times that just go boom because they were so fun. And you just don't want them to end. And it feels like you blinked and there it went. You are controlling time. And when you choose to have all the time you need to complete your task and you get in that celebratory space, you are controlling time. So that's step one, celebrate in advance.
Well, let me just
With me
pause
so far?
there, right? Yeah, because I was sitting here thinking about, all right, we're getting ready to do our last training of the year on life harmony coaching. I want to be able to, we're in enrollment right now. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and celebrate the enrollment. And as soon as you mentioned that, I started seeing the expansion of, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Because I usually tell people to celebrate after. All right, make sure you celebrate. Because a lot of times we don't even celebrate our accomplishments or what we achieved. So now I tell them, celebrate after. But I love that part about celebrating as if it's already done, which creates that expansion and that energy as you're actually doing it. Wow.
It really does, because what you're doing, everything, that emotion that you're creating in your body, that excitement and that delight and that wonder and that welcoming, that is like a guiding light that attracts people to you. It's so magnetic. It's so compelling. People really want to be around that energy. So when you are creating that in your body by thinking about the project, it's not done yet, but you're going to be making great progress. And this is part of the joy, is just sinking your teeth into this process and really experiencing it and savoring it, and how wonderful it's going to be for those awesome people you serve and the transformation they get to experience because of what you're doing. And you feel their delight and their excitement and their wonder, and you just bring that in and savor it before you do anything. That's the first thing you do, is celebrate in advance. Okay.
Oh,
so that's
so
step one. I'm going to keep going because I could stay on that forever.
Okay.
Step two, think of a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 is you haven't even started yet, and 10 is it's complete to your full satisfaction. Where are you now on the scale from 1 to 10? Pick the first number that comes into your head. It's exactly the right number. Which number did you pick, Heather?
I actually went for 10. Right.
Ooh,
and I wonder if it's because even that little tiny moment of celebrating in advance, like I already saw the class full, I already saw the transformation. It opened up. I wonder if it was like, and I already have a lot of the processes already, so it's almost like, oh, it just opened right up to a 10. And that was surprising because I would have thought that it would have been lower, but no, as soon as I wrote 1 to 10, it was like 10. It's like, so I'm ready.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So now I want you to pick a different project. Okay. One where you're not a 10 yet. Because people who are watching are playing along and they've picked something and they're not at a 10 yet.
Okay.
They're not at a 10 yet.
I will say that, so I'm making the announcement, so we'll go ahead and put it out there, but I'm picking a new project.
You don't have to tell us what it is.
Okay.
That's fine to keep it private.
So new. It's so new that it's like I haven't started really yet. So
it has to be something that you've started a little bit. You have to have started some. It can't be you've never touched it. It has to be something that you're working on.
I got it. It can be a personal one too, right? Like
it can be anything. But it's a project that you're working on. And then so pick a number and then tell me what number you picked.
So my number right now with this one is like a 5 or a 6.
Okay. Next question. Why did you pick such a high number? That's a critical question to ask, because usually we spend all our time going, but I haven't done this yet. I haven't done that yet. I've got all these other things I have to get done. And oh my gosh, I haven't heard back from these people. And oh, what am I going to do about that? We waste a lot of time future pacing ourselves and already disparaging ourselves for not completing what's in the future, when what we have to work with is right now. So instead, why did you pick such a high number? Forces you to look at the past and go, wow, I already decided I want to do the project. I already started doing research. I already reached out to these different people. I've already done this kind of stuff. I created the website. I did the landing page. I got the email. Look, I'm making things happen. And it gives you that sense of momentum. That sense of I'm riding the wave. And I may not be at the peak of the wave, but I can feel the momentum building under me. This is so exciting. I'm already psyched because I celebrate in advance. And now look at me. I'm a 4, I'm a 5, but look at what I've accomplished. And I made so much progress already. The next stuff is going to be simple. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a second part is scale from 1 to 10. And why did you pick such a high number? That's step 2.
Okay.
Step three, set a timer for 2 minutes. We're not actually going to do this right now, but set a timer for 2 minutes and write down, ideally by hand, but you can do it on the computer, write down a list of different things you can do that take an hour or less that will get you a little bit closer to your desired completion of your project. So you're going to spend 2 minutes identifying activities that you can do in an hour or less that will get you just a little bit closer to completing your project. Now, often we make the mistake of going, well, okay, I'm going to write a book. That's not a 1 hour project. You have to take the project and break it into subcomponents that are no more than an hour. Okay, so you spend 2 minutes doing that. And when the 2 minutes goes and the timer dings, that's it, pen down, stop typing. Okay, then set the timer again. That was step 3, set the timer for 2 minutes and write down as many things as you can that take an hour or less. Step 4, set the timer again for 1 minute, and you're going to prioritize all those different action items that you came up with. I call them abundance actions. You're going to prioritize your abundance actions in what are you going to do first, second, third. And if you only come up with 3 things because you're spending a lot of time kind of thinking, maybe this, maybe that, that's fine. Just come up with 3 things. No problem. Great. Okay, so step 5, celebrate again. Yes, you are making progress. And you know, the biggest challenge that we have is we don't acknowledge and appreciate ourselves. We don't. We don't feel self-esteem. We don't feel self-appreciation. We don't empower ourselves. And that's why it's vital that you celebrate yourself after you do this process, because this is what progress looks like. You now have complete clarity over what is next for you. You can now, once you have clarity, you can commit. That's what the prioritization thing was. You got clarity and you already committed to a plan of action. You know what to do next. So how cool is that? Okay, so that's the How to Thrive process. Now I want to take that first thing that you just identified and we're going to start making it happen, honey. Guess what you do first?
What?
Celebrate.
Celebrate.
Yes, I know what I'm doing. Celebrate first. You always want to celebrate first. Why? Because it gets you in the emotional space to be creative and productive and control time. You want to control time. You always want to control time. So celebrate first. Then set a timer. I like to set a timer. I know I said an hour or less. I like to set a timer for about 50 minutes, 55 minutes. Because I want to get up and stretch and have some water and move around and not get trapped at my computer all day. I'll feel much more productive and have a much better day if I remember to get up and move around. So I set the timer for 50 minutes, 55 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Start working on your project. You may discover that there was actually a little more to it and it's going to take longer than an hour. Congratulations! Yay, that's progress. You have a better idea of what is required to get this done. That's not a fail, that's a win. Everything is a win. Everything is designed to be a blessing for you. You have to decide that it's a blessing for you. Stop beating yourself up. That's not fair. It's like talking to a baby that's trying to learn how to crawl and yelling at the baby for not doing a triathlon. Stop doing that.
Stop it, everyone. I have a stop it button and I can't find it, but stop it.
I know that wonderful, who's the Tim, dang, I'm forgetting his name. There's a wonderful comedian excerpt. Anyway, I won't go there because I want to finish this process. Okay, so you're going to celebrate in advance. You're going to work on item 1. You're going to identify what else needs to happen, right? And You're going to update your abundance actions list so that you now have more clarity and you can commit again to what you want to do. And then you're going to celebrate your progress. You're going to celebrate how you felt while you were working on this project. I mean, we've all had things where we were just resistant. It's like, man, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do my taxes. I don't want to. And guess what? I get to do them anyway. So instead, I could approach this with happiness and celebration and find things to enjoy and appreciate and gratitude. Thank heaven I get to pay all this money in taxes. Yay, that means I'm doing something right. I'm helping a lot of people. That's why I have to pay so many taxes. That's great. So you want to identify what you accomplished, what you learned, any connections that you made, any opportunities that you created, because there's so much that happens and we take it for granted. We just kind of ignore it. It's like, yeah, I just was doing my thing. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, it matters. It really matters. Okay. And as you go through this, you will find that you are so much more productive. And I've got people I've trained in doing the How to Thrive process, and they'll do it like 2 or 3 times a day, because it just keeps them in action. It keeps them in flow. It keeps them going. And it's fun.
And it's fun because it starts with creating this energy to make it fun. Like how we do things, the energy behind it has everything to do with how it's going to come out. So like that part about you saying, like, be excited as you're doing your taxes, then it's going to be exciting.
Right.
You're like, oh, this is ridiculous. And, a lot of times we resist the things that, maybe are going to bring us the best abundance or the best way forward. And having that clarity of knowing what to do, it's like tuning in with you the whole process. So, wow, Elaine, this was absolutely amazing. I mean, I love this process. I want to hear in the audience, make sure you put your comments on what was your biggest takeaway from this? Where did you find like that nugget about, oh my gosh, what can I be able to work on? Like, I would love to hear about what your project is that you want to work on, how to be able to count it all joy. That's what you're talking about here. Counting it all joy, even in the middle, by creating that mindset of abundance, and it can be joyful as you do it. So
absolutely.
Good. So good. Is there anything else that you like, any big takeaway that you want to kind of leave us with today for our audience?
You are a blessing and you are blessed. So make sure you bless yourself by acknowledging and appreciating what you're doing. That includes your spiritual connection, your mental attitude, your emotional experience, and what you actually tangibly create. You get to enjoy it all. So stop only valuing one part of your life. Value all of your life. You're a blessing.
You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you actually own that. The blessing that you are can be able to radiate through everything that you do. And Elaine has showed us some amazing tips on how to be able to do that. If we want to connect with you more, how can we get a hold of you? Do you have like a free gift or anything that you can share with us, maybe on your website or something?
I definitely do. I have a free gift and I'm happy to make it available to you. I'll make sure that you have it, Heather, so you can include it in the show notes and in the comments.
Okay, cool.
But it's 5 online abundance tips. So these are things that you can do to connect with people online that are high value. And it's a great way to increase your connection abundance.
So good. So good. So yes, everyone, make sure if you're ready to step into this energy. Now, I know that like, it sounds good. Like, oh my gosh, Elaine, this sounds good. And if you're finding yourself struggling with the process in any way, you want to definitely reach out to her so she can be able to support you in getting through and making this a natural part of your process of moving forward. And as she said, this is all about staying in that productivity, staying in that flow, and not being in this stressful stressful, overwhelming state, but just letting go of what's going on and really being able to step into your calling fully. Because if not now, then when? And if not you, then who? So that's part about taking control of time. Now is the time for you to show up and step into all that you're called to be. Elaine, thanks so much for being on our show today and blessing us with your amazing message. We're so grateful that you're here. I look forward to sharing your information and your free gift to the audience. And everyone, thanks for listening to another episode of Freedom Fridays. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Have an amazing weekend and really, really take this process in 5 steps, quite simple, and actually implement them right away. Look forward to seeing you again next time. Have a wonderful day. Peace.